Hello, I am calling because I see a gentleman who looks very similar to in the Kupner stabbing in L.A. I'm in Pasadena currently.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll delve into the events that occurred in 2022 in California. 24-year-old Brianna Kupfer was an ambitious, beautiful young woman with big plans for the future. What happened to her can happen to any of us because we never know who we may meet on our way. For certain reasons, her story caused great resonance in society, making headlines in newspapers and appearing in news releases on television. Brianna Kupfer grew up in the Pacific Palisades, about 3 miles north of Santa Monica, with her father Todd, her mother Lori, her little sister Michaela, and her brothers Tucker and Brandon. She graduated from Brentwood High School. There, she played soccer, ran track and field, performed with the dance team, and was a cheerleading team captain. After graduating high school, Brianna enrolled at the University of Miami, where she participated in a study abroad program at the University of Sydney in Australia in 2018. She graduated from the University of Miami in 2019 with a degree in public relations. Brianna lived with her family at the start of the COVID pandemic. Later, she moved to Culver City and lived with her close friend Lynn McIlvaine while working and taking courses at the University of California. She was also a member of the University of California Extension Student Chapter of the American Society of Interior Designers. Brianna's family and friends described her as compassionate and talented in a variety of interests. Michaela Kupfer said her sister loved to improve her life and the lives of those around her with her knack for design and love for learning. She would keep journals to write down new knowledge she would discover, such as historical facts or information about different events, constantly trying new ways to express her creativity. Brianna's father said she was taking online architecture and design courses at the University of California. He added that she loved geometrical patterns, design, and drawing. Brianna started working at Croft House because it was a sustainable furniture company, and she was passionate about such causes. Here's what the company's official website says. Founded in 2010, Croft House aims to encompass the sophisticated, relaxed feel of the California lifestyle through its handmade pieces of statement furniture. Manufactured locally in Southern California, each piece is handmade with great attention to detail and a distinct focus on the individual processes involved. Longevity and craftsmanship are prioritized through the selection of only the highest quality materials available. On Thursday, January 13, 2022, Brianna planned to leave work early because she had a flight scheduled from Los Angeles to New York. She was supposed to fly there for a friend's birthday celebration. The anticipation of meeting friends and flying made her a little worried and excited at the same time. Brianna was the only one who worked in the store that day. There were no other employees there. At 1:36 p.m., she texted her friend, who also lived in Los Angeles, saying that a man who entered the store was causing her discomfort and concerns. But unfortunately, the friend to whom Brianna wrote this message saw it too late. 20 minutes after Brianna sent this message, a customer came into the store and found her lifeless body lying on the floor. He called 911. 10 minutes later, the police cordoned off the store. She was pronounced dead at the scene, police said. Someone had brutally taken Brianna's life, and now the police had to find out who this person was. Who was this cold-blooded criminal who decided to do something like this in broad daylight? Her death was heartbreaking to her family and friends. They were devastated to learn of the incident. No one could understand who had the motive to deal with Brianna so cruelly. Her father, Todd Kupfer, told the Times after the attack that his daughter's death was heart-wrenching. "It's torn us apart," he said. "We really don't know what to do and what steps to take. We just want her life to have more meaning." Dozens of people gathered outside the furniture store for a vigil celebrating Brianna Kupfer's life and decrying the senselessness of her death. Bri was the brightest part of anyone's day who got to interact with her. Alex Siegel, a co-owner of the Croft House furniture store, said, She was smart and capable and intelligent, kind and friendly, and just an incredibly driven person. Todd Kupfer was outraged when an autopsy report containing graphic details of his daughter's death appeared in the press. A 34-page autopsy report issued by the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner Coroner details her gruesome injuries, including that she had been stabbed 26 times with a gray-handled kitchen knife. According to a spokesperson for the medical examiner's office, autopsy reports are public records per California law. The criminal managed to escape before the police arrived at the store. Detectives started interviewing people working near the furniture store, hoping that someone might have seen or heard something that would help get on the trail of the criminal. The motive for the crime remained unclear. Nothing was missing from the store, and according to Brianna's friends and family, she had no conflicts with anyone. She was a friendly, outgoing person who could get along with anyone. Nowadays, it's almost impossible to do something like this and remain unnoticed, especially in a big city like Los Angeles. Even if you manage to stay unseen by other people, you are unlikely to be able to hide from the surveillance cameras located at every step. The day after the incident, the police released a video from a surveillance camera, which in their opinion, showed a man involved in Brianna's death. He was dressed in dark clothes and had a backpack on his back. His face was hidden by a white medical mask and sunglasses. This camera was near a furniture store, and the time it captured this man corresponded to when someone took Brianna's life. The authorities offered a $250,000 reward for information that could lead to the suspect's arrest. It was one of the biggest rewards ever offered by the authorities in California. During the press conference, representatives of the Los Angeles Police Department shared some information about the investigation's progress.
We're here today because of Brianna. We're here today to call out to this community the cries for your help. This individual responsible for this vicious, senseless, and brutal crime, it walks amongst us. I am convinced of that. I'm convinced of it because of the reports of his activities prior to and in the aftermath of this brutal homicide, where he visited businesses up and down La Brea and along the Beverly corridor as well, businesses large and small. And as he walked about the area, countless thousands of people drove by, walked by. On Thursday, our officers from West Bureau Homicide responded and began their intensive investigation. An investigation that has not stopped over the weekend, continues every day, and will continue until this man is identified and brought to the criminal justice system. And in that course of that investigation, they identified closed-circuit television footage that identifies some of the clues and tips that I've talked about here. They've also have imagery that we put a community bulletin together that I draw the public's attention to if they've not seen it. It's available at LAPD online. It showcases an individual with a distinctive backpack, a male, African American, 6 foot to 6'5", thin build, with short dreadlocks, wearing a painter's style face covering. It's been described as an N95, but it's actually closer to just a cone that you would find as a dust filter at, say, a Home Depot or Lowe's. These are very distinctive attributes and a very distinctive identification. And I'm convinced that in a community that began its outpouring to me and the members of my senior staff and the Wilshire station about their care and their concern for this senseless tragedy, I'm looking to that community today to help us solve this crime.
Police also found footage from a surveillance camera that allowed them to see the suspect more closely. The same man as in the first recording entered the supermarket, located in the same area as the furniture store, about half an hour after the attack on Brianna. In a statement, the force said, "He should be considered armed and dangerous. If seen, do not approach. Call 911.
Thank you, Chief. What we can say is that 5 days ago at 1:36 p.m. in the afternoon, Brianna was working in this store all by herself. She sent a text to a friend letting her know that there was someone inside the location that was giving her a bad vibe. Regrettably, that person did not see the text immediately. And at 1:50 p.m., a citizen who was coming into the store, a customer, found Brianna lying on the ground, lifeless, covered in blood. That person called 911. Our officers and paramedics arrived out here quickly, but regrettably, they determined that she was dead. Suspect took off on foot, and he was last seen walking through the neighborhood. He walked for miles, both north, south, east, and west throughout this neighborhood. Someone out there knows this man. Someone out there knows what he did, and boy, there's a lot of money on the table. Are there any questions about the investigation at this time?
Yes, your release said there were some items that were recovered that lead you to believe that the suspect is homeless. Can you talk about what those items are? Do you still believe the suspect's homeless?
We do believe that the suspect is homeless, and that's in part by the fact that he came on foot, left on foot. He's carrying a backpack, which is consistent with homeless people carrying extra clothing with them and sleeping out in the streets. There's some additional information that I cannot share with you at this point, but we believe that he is homeless.
Do you have any
You working with Lhasa on this to try, because normally they keep pretty good tabs on who's in and around the area that was homeless?
We have been in contact with Lhasa, but regrettably we haven't been able to identify what camp or where this guy stays on a regular basis.
Any indication at this point, since you're talking about a snap, this is a person attack, any DNA evidence, anything else that might have been there at the scene that they'll identify?
As you can imagine, we did a very careful crime scene investigation. There is evidence that we are awaiting processing at this moment, but at this point I don't have any answer on that. This appears to be a random act. There was nothing taken and no other suggestion of any other crime. I don't want to speculate, but I will point out the obvious, that she was working by herself. And I think some of the other locations where he went inside, there were additional people working in the store at the same time. So that probably played into this. Yes, very impressive. And the Los Angeles community needs to come together and come together for the right reason. Of course, it's not just the money, but we need to hold this person accountable for what they did. The suspect was inside the store for several minutes, and I'm not going to comment on all the video right now. The murder weapon appears to be a knife.
Brianna's father, Todd, criticized the authorities. Todd told reporters, "Crime is truly spiking, and we have a lot of criminals on the streets that shouldn't be out. We have a lot of politicians that somehow forgot about people and think the key to getting elected is to support the lowest rung of our society and to give them rights, and somehow that's the answer to getting votes." He called his daughter a kind soul who was trying to make herself better and everything around her better. He continued, "She cared about people. We need to champion my daughter as a beacon of what's wrong and make sure that people recognize that, because it could be their children next, and it's just an impossible price to pay." "It was 30 minutes, but it felt like days," he said, as he recalled detectives delivering the news. "You don't want to hear it, and you don't want to believe it. You process it a little bit, and it's the worst feeling I've ever had in my life." On January 19th, 2022, a week after Brianna's death, police announced that they had arrested the suspect at a bus stop in Pasadena. He did not resist arrest. It was 31-year-old Sean Laval Smith. After getting acquainted with his criminal history, I had one big question: why wasn't this man already in prison? Let's look at Smith's biography in more detail because it really says a lot. It may seem boring and unnecessary, but don't jump to conclusions. Starting with minor offenses and feeling impunity, he moved further and further, and it eventually ended in tragedy. We'll move from one state to another and start with Charleston, South Carolina. April 16, 2010. Smith is arrested and charged with breach of trust. June 12, 2013. Smith is arrested and charged with simple possession of marijuana. July 22, 2013. Smith is arrested on a bench warrant and charged with littering on highways. September 11, 2013. Smith is arrested for disorderly conduct and trespassing. They released him on September 13, 2013, after posting a $732 bond. July 11, 2015. Smith is arrested on a bench warrant for careless driving, no driver's license, and expired registration. March 1, 2016. Smith is arrested on a charge of trespassing after notice. He posts a $470 bond and is released the same day. March 5, 2016. Smith is arrested for trespassing after a notice and resisting arrest. His bond is set at $10,470. He posts bond and is released on April 7, 2016. November 5, 2018. Smith is arrested on a bench warrant and charged with general sessions and probate contempt of court. March 13, 2019. Smith is arrested and charged with entering a premises after a warning. He is released the same day after posting a $470 bond. June 8, 2019. Smith is arrested on a bench warrant and charged with entering a premises after receiving a warning. No bond is set, and he is released the following day. November 13, 2019. Smith is arrested and charged with the discharge of a firearm into a vehicle while occupied. In this case, Smith was accused of firing a flare gun into a car occupied by a man and his child. Records show he was released on November 23, 2019, after posting a $50,000 bond. June 27, 2016. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department announced that Smith has 14 active warrants for his arrest in connection to a rash of bicycle thefts in the Charlotte area. October 27, 2020. Los Angeles County Jail records show Smith is arrested on a misdemeanor charge. He was released on $1,000 bail. In January 2021, Smith vandalized a car in Daly City, California, and when officers arrested him, he resisted and bit one of them, according to court records. He was charged in San Mateo County with assault on a police officer and resisting arrest. Smith subsequently pleaded no contest to one felony charge of resisting arrest. In addition to an 8-month jail sentence, Smith was ordered to serve 2 years of probation. He served 133 days in jail and was released but failed twice to report to his probation officer. His probation was revoked in November. Thus, at the time of Brianna's death, there was an active arrest warrant for Smith issued in November 2021 due to his violation of probation conditions. Unfortunately, the law enforcement authorities could not find and isolate him before he took a human life. Moreover, the authorities of South Carolina, where there was an active arrest warrant for Smith, never contacted the authorities of California, even though he was in the San Mateo County Jail for 8 months. Eventually, in January 2022, he was arrested in Los Angeles as a suspect in taking the life of Brianna Kupfer. You can see photos of Smith through the years on your screen. These are the pictures taken at the police station after his arrests. Those who loved Brianna made sure her 25th birthday was special, even though she was no longer alive. Hundreds of people who knew Brianna crowded into the Brentwood school track to run, do yoga, and at one point, release butterflies. We miss her. It's a day to kind of celebrate and enjoy each other's company and really think about her through the day, said Todd, her father. On January 22, 2022, the authorities officially charged Smith with taking the life of Brianna. The judge set a bail amount of $2 million to ensure he would remain behind bars until the start of the trial. Smith's aunt told Fox News Digital that Smith suffered from unspecified mental health issues. "He was a good boy," said Velma Washington, who identified herself as his aunt and confirmed that the 31-year-old suspect had grown up here and there in South Carolina. She said he had a history of mental illness, but that she didn't know much about it. Smith could face a potential life prison term without the possibility of parole if he is convicted as charged. Prosecutors have opted not to seek the death penalty against Smith. Los Angeles District Attorney George Gaskin announced the charges, saying, "Those who show no compassion for human life will face serious consequences." After taking office in December 2020, Gascon barred his prosecutors from seeking the death penalty, writing in a memo, "The reality is, the death penalty does not make us safer. It is racist, it's morally untenable, it's irreversible and expensive, and beginning today it's off the table in LA County." Smith is currently awaiting trial, and Breonna's family is trying to figure out how to move on with their lives. Todd said the family is doing its best to cope with the immense loss of their beloved daughter. "You can't really move ahead. All you can do is move. So we're trying to move and honor her as much as we can every day with our actions and our voices," he said. "But the pain obviously doesn't go away. It's with you every day." Despite seeming introverted at first, Breonna was always the life of the party, Michaela Kupfer said. Breonna would push her to be brave with new experiences, Michaela added, convincing her to go whitewater rafting and skydiving in Australia, she said. "Breonna has definitely been the biggest role model for me my entire life, and I think that pretty much every aspect of my life was shaped by her, my opinions, my humor. The way that I approached life was all because of Breonna," Michaela said. "I was so proud of her and always trying to be like her." Breonna's family, Dad Todd, Mom Lori, brothers Brandon and Tucker, and sister Michaela, started the Breonna Kupfer Foundation. "We will be championing causes dear to Breonna, such as environmental and social justice issues, as well as honoring victims like Breonna through the protection of women and social betterment," Michaela Kupfer, Breonna's sister, wrote on the foundation's website. "We believe that Breonna was and continues to be a guiding light of pure love, and that with more love in this world, we can transform it into one she would be proud of. It starts with the family and with the community.